hold my tongue never. I say what I feel, look you in the eye, never ran, never will. Hold my own destiny, both hands in the wheel. In the darkness they found light, so at the top of your lungs scream, this ain't life. So when they move left, you move right, you move right. Hold my tongue never, I say what I feel, look you in the eye, never ran, never will. Hold my own destiny, both hands in the wheel.
Welcome to LUDEpresents Rabbit Holes. So we got a couple guests on here with us tonight. I mentioned in some prior episodes it was a place to meet with old friends and also make new ones, and we're doing that tonight. So first, I want to introduce my old friend. I got Notorious NRD joining us from a city up north. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Doing very well, very well. And our special guest, I've also got Tex from Tex's Front Porch channel on here. We're gonna chat some Bigfoot. We're gonna chat Bigfoot, and we're gonna talk rabbit holes if we have enough time. So, introduce yourselves, guys. NRD, tell us a little bit. What are you doing here tonight? You have any idea?
I'm here to dive into Bigfoot and get a little background on him, see how much the general public might know, and current happenings and sightings.
I'm very excited to talk this. The show Rabbit Holes is just that. It's whatever the heck you want to do, as long as you're having fun and laughing about it. So, with that, I'll introduce Tex. Tex, go ahead and tell my audience, and hopefully some of your audience that watches, who are you and what's going on your platform.
Well, my name's Tex Weston, and I got that little old channel over there, Texas Front Porch, and we're not just armchair, researchers. We just don't sit behind the keyboard. We go out in the field, and we've, of course, doing that. I've been actively researching these critters for about 6 years.
Okay.
And the first experience I had wasn't even a Bigfoot. It is a damn dog man. So it was, I don't know, I just kind of fell into it, really.
Yeah. And once that happened, you just kind of got more and more and researched and talked, and now you're here, right?
Yeah, because what happened was I had my experience with dog man when I was 15. I saw him, he was 25 foot away, and broad daylight on a gravel road. He ran across the road in front of me. So that goes on. And back then, y'all gotta remember, I'm old enough to fart dust. So we didn't have the term dog man wasn't even coined at that time.
Okay.
All I knew was I thought I saw a damn werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
And it you kind of I had a support family, a good support group with my family. They didn't tell me I was crazy, but they tried to say, well, maybe you saw this and your imagination took over and all this.
Makes sense of it. Yeah.
Right. And so you fast forward, through the ice age and everything else. And I find out there's people talking about these things and they're out here in the open, and they're not being told they're nuts. They're not being, and there's more people they're traumatized by this stuff.
Yeah, I believe that.
I got on YouTube. I was poking around, found it really by accident. This old gal's channel that I liked, and it was a Dogman channel. It's defunct now, unfortunately. She was great, but I wrote into her, and she, I'd love to hear your encounter. Would you come on the show? Sure, I don't have a problem with that. But so I came on the show. We talked about it and everything. I told my story. Well, then she started getting comments about, hey, he's cool. He's got a good voice and all this kind of mess. And she started asking me to do voice work for her, tell stories and everything.
You just created an on-air presence.
Yeah, I guess. But that went down, her channel went down and everything. And then I got hooked up with another old boy and actually went out researching with him. And the first time we went up to Brown Springs, Oklahoma, and there's a lot of people in the cryptid world community circle, whatever you want to call it, cannibal, communion, whatever. But anyway, I was out there 8:30 in the freaking morning. We pull up down to the bottoms in the Red River to what he called his first research, his first research area. I'm getting out of the truck. I ain't got nothing but my phone with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going for a walk in the damn woods. I ain't
Well, I'm sorry, I might have missed it, but were you going there to encounter like a wolf man, or was it for just any encounter?
No, this was I wanted to go see what the whole Bigfoot thing was about.
Okay, Bigfoot. Okay.
But the area is known for dogman also. So I'm just really just out there for shits and giggles, to be honest with you.
Right, just to experience it.
Y'all are good with me. I just don't country boy. I don't have much of a filter.
I live down south now, so you're fine.
All right, man. So anyway, we got out of my truck and I'm standing there and I'm just kind of taking in the lay of the land because I'd never been there before. Now I grew up hunting and camping and fishing and stuff from a very young age.
Right.
And so I'm getting the lay of the land, picking out some landmarks, that type of thing. Because I've never been here. I don't want to go get freaking lost if we get separated. So I'm standing there and I'm looking, and the place we're standing is it's the side. It's on the side of a hayfield. On the hayfield's on your right, and there's a thin tree line, probably about 20 feet, 30 feet wide, that separates this hayfield from a wheat field. And I'm looking through this tree line, and I'm looking out into the wheat field, and he's over getting stuff ready to go. He's got the whole camera thing and all this kind of mess. And he's over on the other side of the truck, and I'm just kind of looking around. I look through this tree line in this wheat field, and then the wheat was about 4 feet high at this time. And that stuff grows thick, So I'm just checking stuff out. I see this critter stand up in the middle of the wheat field, look around, do this, and takes off running down to the bottoms. So I saw him from about the waist up, and that wheat was 4 feet high. So
yeah,
I saw him from the waist up, and till he hit the fire break that was mowed around the wheat field and the bottoms. And then I caught him head to toe for a couple of steps, and then he went into the trees. So I'm like, I don't get excited about a whole lot of things when they happen.
But when you see something like that for the first time, I'm sure you had a reaction.
Well, but here was my reaction. I'll be damned. There goes one right there. That's exactly what I said. And he starts going, what? I said, yeah, he come up out of that wheat field and ran into the bottoms and everything. He goes, you're the third person to see that one right there, and I've yet to see him. He was pissed.
Oh my gosh. The guy that was setting it all up.
Yeah. So we go down, we head down into the bottoms, and it's on the Oklahoma side of the Red River.
Okay.
And these what I'm calling bottoms are actually the floodplain. When the river gets out of banks, it floods this area. So we go down in there into the bottoms down there, and we're walking, and we take a left, which is going to cross paths where this thing went, right? But there's a ridge up on our right hand side, on our left hand side, and we start hearing something in the trees walking.
What time of the day was this? This is daylight, right?
Yeah, it's 8:30 in the morning in the fall. But so we're walking down through there, and we keep hearing something up there on the ridge, and then every once in a while we'll hear a pow, a wood knock, and then we'll walk another 100, 150 yards, whatever, and we can still hear him every once in a while make a step, and then we'll get another pow.
Yeah.
So we think what was going on. Of course, you don't know. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care whoever you interview, who you talk to, does not matter how they're built or whatever. There is not any experts in this field.
That's right.
Because I don't know anybody that's got one of these things that they study under controlled conditions. I mean, it's you got people that claim to have relationships with them, but
So my question there is only because you guys talk about this much more than we do, but like are these the only communities where people can discuss these things and can piece things together to kind of understand what's going on? Like, is that the only place that takes it serious where they could, like, where we will find that?
It seems to be, but what's neat is when the trend that I've been seeing over the last couple of years, because I ain't the shy type,
Right.
and it kind of started out as a joke. I started finding these damn Bigfoot shirts, right? Kind of, Bigfoot saw me, but nobody believes me type thing, warning, don't feed the Sasquatch.
The
That type
license
of thing.
plates.
Yeah. And social distance champion, I mean, that kind of stuff. So I start wearing this stuff. I start ordering these shirts and I start wearing them. And my wife's going, I can't believe you're wearing that shirt. I said, well, whatever. And what I found out was people would see my shirt and they'd comment on it. And the next thing I know, we're having a conversation about they saw something, their cousin saw something.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I pieced together here just by,
Aunt, mom,
reaching
uncle,
out.
dad, whoever,
And yeah, that's why I wanted to get you on here. Just so this is exactly what we wanted, Tex. We just, maybe people don't know about it, but maybe somebody that listens to it says something to their cousin that said something about it. Right. And then, we can get those stories.
But I find out if I wear that out in public, I'm more approachable because nobody's just going to, out of the blue, come up and talk to you about Bigfoot. Most of the time, if you ask, they're going to write you out because they don't want to be looked at as crazy.
Well, you know what? I will halt you there though, because I would agree with that if I was back up north. But now that I live down south here, I recognize that it's so much different because people actually do talk to you just walking down the street. It's the nicest people in the world. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like just walking down the street, passing by.
What I'm saying, they're not just going to bring it up out of the blue.
Right.
You say people
say like us do that. Say again?
I was going to say people don't want to think it's crazy, but there is a long history of legends and native culture. And I kind of wanted to touch on, you said your first experience was with a dog man.
Right.
And where was that at?
It was in North Texas.
North Texas. Yeah. So how is it different, if it is different, than like the Native American skinwalker legends?
I think now the skinwalkers are supposed to be basically a cursed individual.
Right.
They and what we've been, in fact, we did a show on this not too long ago. If you look at skinwalkers, the Luke Guru, the werewolf, and there's some others in there too. What you'll see is there's a common thread that a lot of these, to get cursed or to get this ability to shapeshift and all this kind of stuff, you have to like kill a loved one, possibly cannibalize, that type of thing. The dog man seems to be, if you look over history, even if you look back in the Egyptian times with Anubis, okay, you see cultures talk about them pre-flood and post-flood. So these things have been around for centuries, and I mean, thousands of years. And I think, now this is my theory on it, that pre-flood, they may have some Nephilim in them. I don't know. I mean, that's just it. We don't know. And all this is speculation. The only thing that people can talk about is what they've witnessed, what they've experienced, and what they've seen out in the field. That's it. They don't have, really no academic way to study it because you can't recreate what you're seeing out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So this is more something that is born that way as versus cursed.
Yeah. Dogman seems to be a race of these individuals.
So I have a question from that then. Like, I want to hear both sides, and that's why, I'm there. I want to hear more. But right. So from the other side, my question to that would be, why haven't we found any deceased, Bigfoot or, the dog man? Or why, like, what's the response to that? Like, why? That's my only question. Where are the skeletons? Where's the bodies at?
Well, there's several theories out there that people will point to. I think it's a combination of all of it. because I can't tell you how many reports I've had that, been told and read other places and everything else, that somebody would down one of these Bigfoot creatures or dogman creatures or whatever, and then have a visit by a lot of, alphabet teams and be told you didn't see nothing, or this was a wolf, or this was a big cat, or something like that.
Like some sort of like something in the government type of
Yeah.
outfit?
People call them, MIB type thing,
Okay.
But we hear a lot of the FBI being involved, the CIA, that type of thing, but mostly it's boys in suits showing up. And for some reason, there's a lot of reports that describe the individuals, the two individuals that show up, and one of them is tall and thin, and one of them's shorter and stockier a little bit. And there's even theories on that possibly one's a Nordic and possibly one's a gray, but we don't know. I mean, you want to go down rabbit holes. The rabbit holes are freaking endless on that. But there's
You just
Okay,
hit a
so
lot
that's a deep rabbit hole.
That's
But
a lot
I
of
know there's
things.
yeah,
I know there's been a lot in the news about like the government admitting that the Air Force keeps track of like UFOs and stuff,
right,
and a lot of documentation coming on that. As
So
far as not going down a rabbit hole, you think there's definitely some sort of entity within our administration that keeps track of some of these things.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I think there is, because they've pretty much come out and admitted it anyway. As far as the UFOs go.
Right.
So
I
So
meant
this-
more like the biologicals.
right.
would
So
it just be like how would they disguise it though? Like as a state police agent, as an FBI agent? Like how would all of these people be around and we don't even know they're part of that?
Well, the answer to your question is, when you ask, are they, they disguise the FBI, CIA, soldiers, whatever. The answer is yes. To
Okay.
all of it, I think.
Okay.
But there's also theories out there that Bigfoot either bury or eat their dead.
How big of a creature is Bigfoot said to be?
Well, the ones I've seen, that first one I've seen, he was probably a good 8 foot.
Okay.
The second one I saw was probably more along the lines of 7.
So big creature, yeah.
Yeah, but I've got a picture of what I thought was a Bigfoot for a long time. That we went out and took comparison photos and measurements and everything, and he was 14 feet tall.
Holy
But
cow.
over the years, we've come to believe that is not a Bigfoot that I got a picture of.
What could that have been?
Well, we think, because what we did, because all it is a big dark shadow. It looks like Andre the Giant standing back here in the woods. What it looks like.
Andre the Giant. Oh
yeah,
my
with
God.
a big hairdo, and I mean, he's
70 beers in one setting.
Yeah. They look like a toy in his hand and stuff.
Yeah.
But this area is really weird because out there in Brown Springs, there's a cemetery that sets up on a hill in the woods about 100 yards or so. It's dilapidated. There's not even a real road that goes to it. There's a 4-wheel drive path. The thing is washed out so deep to where you're walking, because that's the trail you walk up. It's washed out so deep that the actual original ground level is eye level.
Wow. You. Okay. All right.
And so this cemetery, we got to looking at. I was having some weird experiences out there and everything, and well, a bunch of other people have too, but we got to looking at the history of it and trying to find out what we could, dig up as far as because it's on tribal land. Okay. And the what we can find out about the background of it. And we ended up talking to like 4 different independent sources that didn't even know we were talking to them. Okay. And they didn't even know each other. All right. All of them told us the same thing, that there was a dark, huge, ancient entity that watched over this place.
Oh my goodness.
The cemetery. Well, one night when we were up there and things just went off the chain, there was 5 of us up there. We all had experiences at the same time. It's just I've never seen. That's the craziest night I've ever had up
I'll tell you, I'll never be there. Never be there for
there. I'd be
Now
happy to take you.
you.
we got two different kind of paths here, so I kind of want to ask you about like your belief system. You saw the dog man, you saw the Bigfoot, and some of these other cryptids, and you talk about like the Nephilim. These are all biologic entities versus things like werewolves or vampires or things
Right,
that have more of like a curse or a spiritual to them.
right.
Is that something you think is out there maybe? Or is it mainly like the biologics that we haven't really cataloged yet?
I think it's both
Okay.
because, and I'll get into that in a minute too. And I think, but this, I do think it's both. There's physical creatures out there. I can't. I'm. But I will say this: those 3 sightings, the dog man, the 2 Bigfoot, and one other encounter that I had, are the only ones that I can positively, in my mind, say these were physical.
Right.
Okay.
Everything else that I've experienced could be written off as paranormal.
Okay.
Okay. So we're out there. What we're trying to do is narrow down and figure out what we're dealing with, because it's not just Bigfoot. It's not just Dogman. I
Right.
think what it is, these entities, and I'm not sure what they are. I don't pretend to know or anything else, but we think these entities are presenting themselves as these creatures also, because y'all have heard of the phenomenon of mind speak with Bigfoot.
No.
Okay. There's individuals out there, and I've got some dear friends that I love and respect the hell out of, that claim to communicate with these creatures through telepathic ways, okay, or by their dreams or by meditation or whatever. And almost every one of them, when I asked them, how do you know it's Bigfoot? I got the same answer: because they told me so.
There
Now,
you go.
paranormal investigation 101, spirits are going to lie to you. Okay. So what I think is going on is these people are out looking for Bigfoot and everything. These creatures are presenting themselves to these people as that, so they will open the door that they need to get in. And that worries me, because you don't know what you're dealing with. I don't care what they say. I've yet to have anybody tell me anything different than, oh, well, that's what they said they are. Well, that doesn't cut the mustard with me.
So I don't want to take you off track here, but if I take you down a different path, will you be able to get back? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I had 2 thoughts that I wrote down during that conversation, and the first one is like these biological things we're talking about. Bigfoot particularly. So I talked about on one of the episodes, I heard about this creature, Gigantolithicus.
Gigantopithecus, yeah.
Gigantopithecus. Okay, so is it possible that that's what, for example, Bigfoot is?
I think it's a possibility, yeah, but I don't think they're as much ape as they are people,
Okay.
or an offshoot of people. Now, if you go back further, far enough down the line, I think that Gigantopithecus is in our lineage somewhere, but I think they're more. Of course, I don't know. I don't know how intelligent those creatures were,
Right.
but being around humans for thousands and thousands of years, these things have picked up behaviors.
So
They picked up ways to communicate with us.
would it be like an evolved human, or would it be like somewhere right before the caveman we split off? Like, where would that have happened at?
I think that's what we're seeing. I think it's something that just hasn't been, mainstream academic documented, or,
Right.
because if if they were to come out and say, okay, it's an offshoot of human, a subspecies, like, wasn't too long ago they found the pygmy people that were supposedly a myth, right? And all this kind of stuff. And now everybody thought that there was one train that we came from, and it was, you follow this line and it goes all the way down to monkeys, right? Well, now they've rewritten all that. There's like 10 or 12 different subspecies of human.
Right.
And that's what I think these things are. They're a subspecies that went down just another branch than we did.
Either, could have been continental divide or anything, and then they just evolved differently.
There could have been something like the Gigantopithecus interbreeding with early humans, or
could be
an entirely different offshoot.
Yeah, it very well could be.
I know that I was going to say we have two main categories here. We have the physical biological entities, and then we have these paranormal ones. And you mentioned like possibly like Nephilim blood in some of these. Now, what are your views on the Nephilim? Like there's views that they were like fallen angels, but versus say like a precursor race, not necessarily gods, but just a previous race.
Right.
Those are two different kinds of thoughts on those. Where do you lie on that?
You know what? I'm in the fallen angel category.
Okay.
Because they were able to breed with humans, and it explains a lot. But the thing about Nephilim is they have a couple of traits. A lot of them have 6 fingers, double rows of teeth, long red hair, that type of thing. The Anunnaki are a good example of what we think might have been Nephilim. The Kandahar giant, perfect example. This thing was 15 feet tall, and it took out a squad of soldiers in Afghanistan, and they had to send up special ops to take care of it. And it took a lot to bring it down, and a few of them were killed in the process. So I think Nephilim, if they were involved in the whole Dogman Bigfoot thing, it was way back when, but I'm not real sure that they were involved. If they were involved in anything, I think it was probably the creation of the Dogman from the get-go. Because you, like I was talking about earlier, you look back at the Egyptians, there were supposed to be armies of these things, but you don't even have to look at just the Egyptians. You look at almost every ancient culture out there, they have some kind of canine-like deity, and it's odd to me. Nowadays, okay, if this was a brand new phenomena, I could swallow the fact that, okay, it's just people talking and making up stuff, all right, because of the ease of communication. The world has gotten smaller. Yeah. Back then, these cultures didn't even know each other existed. Why are they coming up with the same descriptions of creatures? It doesn't. That math doesn't add up.
So to interrupt you guys, we just got like multiple different places we can go with that. So like one night we could talk about what's the land that is supposed to be under the water now? Atlantis. Like that stuff, pyramids, ancient tribes, but that's just that. But the one thing I had from all of that, we're kind of going back, but so I was kind of piecing together, like you're from Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have people from Pennsylvania. And then I read stories about California, Washington. It's probably everywhere. So I don't know. I highly doubt I'm coming up with this, but like what I just thought there was like, what about like national parks? Could that be national parks for a reason? Like all across the country, all across the world?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because there's a theory out there. See, Theodore Roosevelt had a Bigfoot experience. He writes about it. Oh yeah, he writes about it in his memoirs. And supposedly it was a trapper friend of his that had told him this. And he trusted this man with his life. And he fully believed this. The trapper had a client, took him out. They ran into a Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot killed the client. What everybody's thinking is maybe Teddy Roosevelt was the client and the trapper's the one who got killed, but he changed the story. Now, Theodore Roosevelt, after this and everything, when he became president, he's the one that made the national parks. There's a theory out there that he made the national parks to give these things a place, to give them their space.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of people don't understand about not just Bigfoot, but nature in general. When you go out in the woods, we're so used to we're rule over everything. But what you don't get is when you step into the woods, you're in something else's living room.
It's
So,
scary. If you look at it that way, that's scary. It's very scary.
Yeah. I mean, people, I don't want to get off on a pollution deal, but you walk out there and you leave a mess. How would you feel? And, they have what they call an aggressive encounter, which I have a theory on that. But how would you feel if somebody walked in your front door and just dumped a bag of trash in your living room floor? I'd be pretty damn pissed. I'd run them out too.
Hey, Tex, what if I interrupted you here and just said, have you ever written anything?
I've written some short stories and stuff. I'm toying with the idea of writing a book.
I'll tell you what, man, like some of that stuff, if you put it down for people to, all those different theories and things you talked about, like people would enjoy like something like that. I would read something like that'd be interesting.
Well, I'm actually toying with the idea. I was talking to my co-host Jason McLean. He is an author.
Okay.
He's a published author, and you ought to see if you can get him on here. I'll talk to him about it because that boy is a wealth of knowledge.
Well, yeah, I mean, you let him know that, maybe watch back on the episode, all of our audience, watch back on the episode. But I think like putting this, because how we're like combining like way different topics. Like I'm here to have fun and to laugh, and you have your topic. And when you put them together, it's like, it's so interesting to hear that. I mean, it's similar to like the podcast you listen to, Yeah. I think we could really, if we did some things like that, it might be a hit.
But how familiar are you with the different state societies? Like we have the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society, and there's a lot. Like there's a small county in north central PA called Clearfield County, and they have numerous sightings in the area. I know they sell a lot of merchandise and stuff too, but then we've got lots of an active society.
Yeah, they I actually, doing what I do now, I talk to a lot of different people in a lot of different groups. In June, we were invited to go to Alabama and speak at a conference. So I met a lot of people down there. We'll be at the Jefferson conference. We go to the Jefferson, Texas conference every year. It's the different contacts and everything that I've made throughout the years will just blow your mind. And it's crazy that all of these different views on the same subject.
So you've been doing the podcast thing for 6 years, but you've been experiencing these events way back.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I took us down where I wanted to go. We can go back up to where you left off if you got where you were at.
Well, I don't really remember what we was talking about.
I knew it.
Well, hey, you're the host. You're supposed to hold on to that.
Other than Bigfoot, what's your favorite cryptid?
Oh, it's got to be dog. Well, you know what? It's got to be Dogman. That's close to the heart.
Okay.
But I also have a fascination for the Merp people.
Okay.
See, give me an explanation on that. I've never heard that term, word, anything about it.
Mermaids.
Oh, mermaids. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mermaid is just a female merp. They call them mer people because you have mermen too.
So merp.
Mer people.
Merp. Okay. Woo. All right. That's a good one.
As long as people have been on the water, they've been seeing them.
Yeah. I mean, this is just I don't want you to think, Tex, I'm like going the opposite because I'm not. I'm just hearing both sides.
Go ahead, brother. I'll keep up with you.
Why haven't we found any merps washed up on the shore? Like what happened?
I don't know. I understand, and I don't know if they exist. I just think they're cool as hell. But
Okay.
you know, because you got to understand, I've been scuba diving since I was 14 years old. I did it professionally for a while.
You've
And
done about everything you can, man. You were a camper, a scuba
well,
diver.
and I was talking to that buddy of mine, Jason. I said, I said, I've done so much crap in my life that it might make an interesting book. You
Yeah,
know.
I from this, I mean, everything you've said thus far, I was excited to have you on, but I didn't expect it to be this entertaining, you know?
Well, thank you.
So I appreciate you joining. I hope all of our potential viewers out there, you know, the ones we get from you and anyone that watches it, like, you know, this show is not just this topic, but it's
Right.
the fact that we can talk about anything and have fun. You know, it
Exactly.
doesn't mean I think it or don't think it, but, you know, we just want to ask questions and talk to people that, you know, have answers. We don't expect everyone to be published authors and, you know,
Oh, yeah.
licensed and, you know, but just like there's that side, there's the other side, you know?
Well, you know, and that's kind of how we run the ship over there where I'm at. I mean, tonight we were starting out with one topic. We got switched to another one because tonight we're interviewing. Y'all may want to listen to this one if you're interested in stuff. I have a friend that was in a cult for a long time, and she got out of it and was actually one of the main people that brought it down.
That's an interesting story there too.
And
That's
we're
wild.
interviewing her tonight.
Oh, I might have to watch that. Yeah, yeah.
So, and she's from Australia. So yeah.
Nerd, we gotta pay attention here. That's
Yeah, I
gonna be
might
a
have
good
to
story.
watch that. I'd like to say that like scuba diving is one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. I absolutely love it. But at the same time, the ocean absolutely terrifies me. Not
I
being
won't-
able to
I
see
know.
what's down in there.
I won't do it.
Like
I
the
won't do
Merp
it.
people, though, if we've never, you have to try it. It's the best thing ever.
Won't do it.
But
No way.
the
It's a whole
Merp
different
people, you
world.
asked about like washing up on shore. So if these things are real and they have a society and someone dies, you think they just let them float away and wash up on land?
All right. Well, first, just pause that topic because from now on, when you visit this show, you're the Merp nerd. Merp nerd. All right, go. All right. So yeah,
Like if that'd be like if anytime a human dies, we just leave them laying in the middle of the road.
okay. So let's just say they're in Mariana's Trench, right? Like, where are they at when we come through with those deep sea things? You know?
Well, the ocean
Why
is
wouldn't they register as
mind-bogglingly
fish?
big.
Huh?
If you're looking at sonar, okay, why wouldn't they just register as a fish? Okay, I can understand that part of it.
Yeah.
If you're talking about video, these things are obviously intelligent. They're probably swimming behind the damn camera all the time.
I mean, you've got a point. Yeah. I mean, it's not like an invisible camera.
And there has been images captured. You know, it's just you have to decide if you're going to believe that they're real images or not. It's the same thing with Bigfoot. And you were, you know, Nerd, you were talking about. I'm just going to call you Nerd. I like that.
Yeah.
I can't get in trouble for it now. I'm not in high school, but
That's been my nickname for like 20 years.
hey, believe me, I'm a nerd too. You have no clue. But going back to what you were talking about, why we haven't seen them washed up and everything.
Yeah.
I'll turn that around by talking about the Bigfoot. Okay, and we were talking about why haven't we found a Bigfoot body? And if I remember right, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
So, see, I told you we'd circle back around, but it's you have theories that they bury their dead. You have theories that they eat their dead. Okay, so now we have three things that are possibly involved. Maybe some tribes eat their dead. Maybe some of them bury their dead, and maybe some of them are taken away when they're killed on purpose by a human. Okay. Now let's also throw into the mix that I'll use the argument on bears, or even how many apex predator skulls and skeletons or remains are found out in the woods that have naturally died.
Hardly any.
Exactly. What a lot of people don't realize is you can lay a body out in the woods for about a week and it's pretty much done. But what a lot of people don't think about is, well, the first question you get is, well, what about the bones? You got things out there that eat bones. You've got predators dragging them off in all 4 directions. Porcupines actually eat bones. So, and they're and there's other things that do too. So you've got that.
Well,
What if
even
even if they're like elephants and they have when something gets sick, it's going to look at a dog when it gets sick and it wants to go off and die. It finds a comfortable place to hide.
what's interesting,
The-
you brought up elephants because for the longest time, elephant bones weren't really something we found, and
Right.
that's kind of a big skeleton to lose. And eventually, they found that they congregate in these areas
Yep.
where they'll go off to die. And it
Right.
wasn't until we actually found this graveyard that we knew what was happening.
Yep.
Okay, so
Like, where are all the dead elephants?
why have I never heard anything about things like that? That's nowhere in like school or
Did you ever watch The
public.
Lion King?
I didn't know
Got
we
the
had a hard
elephant
time.
graveyard.
I didn't know we had a hard time finding like dead bear and dead lions and dead like.
And like Bigfoot. So what's the average Bigfoot? You say it's like 7, 8 feet tall. That's not that much taller than a tall human. And if things are dragging these remains to the 4 corners when they die, and even if it's just a fox munching on it, you find a femur bone laying in the woods, it won't look all that different than a human one.
And now let me throw you a curveball on that one too. How many remains are discovered out in the woods? Okay. The authorities get called in. Maybe they do a DNA blast on it. 9 times out of 10 they do not. Right? Because it's expensive. Okay. But what if they do this? Or for argument's sake, they do. What if it comes back so close to human, it just goes into the John Doe or Jane Doe box?
Yeah. Or they count as the DNA being altered from being out in the wilderness so long.
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
Hell, we share like 3/4 your DNA with like an egg.
Yeah. So if you put all of these theories, because I don't think it's just one, I think it's a combination of all of it.
Oh yeah, we just talked about like 30 in this show already.
So if and that's just so the answer to me when it comes to why haven't we found a body? Well, there you go. So and one of the other questions that I get asked or comments that I get told all the freaking time, especially by hunters that's been hunting all their life, or people like me that's going out in the woods and stuff like that, is I've been hunting for 30 or 40 years. How come I've never seen one? My first question is, were you looking for them?
Yeah, under leaves or growing up
Because
grass.
these things ain't easy to find when you're looking for them. Not much less you're concentrating on a damn deer walking in, that you've been training to come up to the feeder for 6 months.
All right, so I'm gonna end the show, but then we'll keep going. But like I have to end the show with a question to ponder, and I want that to be the question to ponder. So like any audience listener, so like question to ponder: why don't any bear or wolf or elephant or lion, like tiger, why aren't any of the big bones found very commonly? And then compared to what we're talking about, it'll make you think. Oh my God. All right, let's end it. That was a great conversation about all those things. Tex, thanks for doing that with us.
Thank you, Tex.
Anytime you want me back, you just holler, brother.
Oh no, you're staying. You're staying. But that was just
okay.
We're gonna end that. Now we're just gonna go down the rabbit holes and just talk some funny stuff and finish up the show, okay?
All right, cool.
All right. So the first question I want to ask you is you're from Texas. And I didn't do this little segment yet, but I'm gonna do a segment that's related to like the ultimate homer. So like do you have like a athletic team or anything or school that you're like a diehard fan of?
As close as you could come to saying diehard fan, and I don't know about diehard. Well, I guess hell, I've supported them through thick and thin. That'd be
all right. So Dallas Cowboys. All right. So that would be like your your homer team. So like,
Yep.
what do you have to say about the Dallas Cowboys right now, going into this season, going into the future? Let me get your ultimate homer comment.
Get the hell. Jerry Jones, get the hell out of Dodge and let somebody that actually knows football run the damn organization. Sit over there, be the owner, and mind your own damn business.
I'll tell you what, I love that. That's intelligent, because I think that all the time too. Like, just let somebody knows what they're doing. Do it. You're 80 or whatever you are.
I mean, Jerry Jones was on the same football team, went to the same school as Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, well, what a lot of people don't understand is Jerry Jones pretty much rode the bench. The only reason he got into the damn school, I think, was because his daddy had a building built.
He's
And
just the ultimate fan.
Yeah, now he's owner and general manager and
The best fantasy
bottle
football
washer.
player
I don't
ever
know what all
before
he
there
is
was
now.
fantasy football. Oh
Do
my
what?
goodness. I said before there was fantasy football, he was the best fantasy football player.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I got talking about that. I got just absolutely trounced this last week on week 1. Oh my god.
He got hurt, right?
Dak got hurt, and
Yeah.
they were just. A lot of people say how bad they looked. Well, Dak hadn't had any preseason warm up or nothing.
Yeah.
And but I don't think the defense did a bad job. Parsons was just a beast.
Oh, Parsons, that's my school. I'm Penn State, so he's the best there is.
Parsons, man, good God, boy. I fell asleep after halftime. I don't know how many sacks he ended up getting on Brady, but
I respect him for what he did. Like, he didn't play football his last year at Penn State because he knew how good he was going to be, and I don't blame him one bit. I give him all the credit in the world because he made all that money from it.
Yeah.
He went to school. He still finished school. He just didn't play football that last year because he knew he was going to be good.
Yeah, that's an interesting turn to take. I mean, and then just look at him. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, he's like the best. He'll be the best ever. All right, so I like that one. So, Nerd, I'm not going to let you go yet.
So you can see, in fact, I guess you see my Dallas Cowboys totem pole sitting on.
Okay, I see it now. Yep. We talked fantasy football last week, and we had a bunch of Cowboys things come up because our commissioner, our fantasy football league, is a Cowboys fan. And he's almost banned from the channel at this point. We're giving him slack on here. So if he wants to defend his Cowboys, he better come on.
I'm in a league with the guys at work, and it's just a little 8-team league, so you don't even have to know how to freaking draft if you want to,
just fill all the spots.
Yeah, but I ended up picking up Dak and Brady for my two quarterbacks.
Man.
Of course, Dak's out for at least 6 to 8 weeks, and so I just, and I don't know if he'll be worth a dime when he gets back anyway.
You like Brady? He's a little bit too old. I think he's down the bottom side of the mountain.
Yeah, well, I picked me up another one, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. So hey, I know before the show, the Merp nerd and I talked about crypto. So I know he has something to say about crypto, but do you deal with that at all, Tex?
Crypto, I deal with cryptids.
No. Yeah, so we're talking like money, like
cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, Merp.
Well, I was just thinking there was a bunch of news out today. Like, it was always a big thing with the Bitcoins and everything else. And the whole concept is, you use your computer to solve equations, and in return, you get this currency. So
that's how it started, right?
Right. It became big business because the main driver when you're doing these computations, these mathematical equations, is the graphics cards. You link a bunch of graphics cards together and basically create your own supercomputer. The whole point of the cryptocurrency was to basically crowdsource a supercomputer. So your computer by itself doesn't do a whole lot, but you connect 1,000 of them, now you got some power, as opposed to spending $1 billion on a supercomputer.
So the original purpose of it wasn't to make money?
No, it was to reward people for using their computers to do work. But lately, there's this one called Ethereum, and it's basically the last one that's in any way profitable. So you make this you mine them. You make your computer with your graphics cards and everything, And these people buy up these graphics cards and send the market through the roof because you can't get them. But
Is that the NVIDIA stock?
Yeah, NVIDIA.
Okay.
And they buy them all up. So people that just want to play games on the computer, just build a computer, are kind of out of luck. And this Ethereum coin has been the last one that's really profitable because you build your rig, you got to power it. And these electricity bills for these things can go into the tens of thousands, to the point where places like California have started limiting the power consumption of these places.
So that's why electricity's so high?
Well, partly. Thank the EPA for some of that too. But this coin just became not profitable. You'd have to put in like 2 years of energy to get one back.
So is it all going to crash then, like soon?
Right. So not only the stock market in these coins, but the hardware, all the parts and pieces that come from producing countries, like they'll come from Taiwan, Korea, China. And some of these companies have actually started to artificially withhold their stock to keep up demand in the middle of this crash. But it's going to affect, I mean, they're chips, they're computer chips, and it's going to affect the supply of a lot of things.
Wow, that's quite the rabbit hole there. Thank you, Merp Nerd, because you just gave us like 8 topics there. I mean, we've totaled like 57 topics so far tonight, so might be busy finding some guests to come on and talk about those 57 things. Tex, are you a big cook?
Oh, I love to cook.
So if it ever takes off, I'm going to put together a LUDE cookbook, and I'm going to put together all these different like things we learned from the show. Give us like your favorite, can be anything, snack, food, dessert, whatever. What's your favorite thing you make?
I'll give you, well, that's not my favorite thing I make, but I'll give you, it's pretty popular. I'll give you my chicken recipe. It's an award-winning recipe. I actually cooked in competitions for a while.
Man, you've been all over the globe, dude. I don't know how you did that.
I told you I'm old enough for it does.
Oh my goodness. All right, so go ahead, go with that one.
So I call it margarita chicken, and it's real simple. All you got to do is you go buy you a bottle of margarita mix.
Okay.
Take the chicken and throw some salt and pepper on it. Put it in a bag and dump the margarita mix in there. Make sure it's covered, and along with the beer, and you squeeze in a couple of limes, and let that sit about 6 hours. You gotta be careful with chicken. You can't marinate it too long and turn to mush.
Well, do you gotta would you have to keep that like inside too because of the heat, or is that not?
Yeah, you keep it in the fridge. You keep it in the fridge.
Okay.
And then you grill it. Because what I do is I cut my chicken down the back, and then I flatten it out. Whole chicken.
Do you have your own chickens?
No.
Okay, you just buy a whole chicken.
Yeah, just buy a whole chicken and cut him down the back and just flatten him out. And cook him bone side down. And rub him down with olive oil and salt and pepper. Okay. And then throw him down burn your coals down to pure gray, where it's almost falling apart.
Gotcha.
And then throw your chicken on there, bone side down, close everything up, shut the air off to it, and let it cook for about 45 minutes or so. And you take it and you flip it over, close everything up again, and let it cook for about another 15, 20 minutes. And the olive oil is really nothing but to get that nice,
crisp
texture on the skin and color. So, but yeah, it's a pretty good tasting bird.
And now is that over like what are you cooking that on?
Charcoal
grill? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got a question for you. Because one of my favorite things to cook, one of my favorite recipes is chili. I like making chili that slow burns. Like you can eat half the bowl before you realize how hot it is, and now it's too late. You're screwed.
That's a good chili.
No.
Now I know how I like to make it, but I want to hear from a Texan. Is there beans supposed to be in chili?
Oh, you didn't go there.
I say no.
Real chili don't need it, and it don't have a place in it.
Thank you. I will never put beans in my chili.
My mom always
I have,
Beans and
I have
chili.
put beans in my chili just because people like it, you know, because if you do your beans right, you don't change really the flavor. You pretty much just stretch your chili.
So what's in
See,
your
for me,
chili
it's a
then?
texture thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
think I
get that.
like the bean. So what's in Texan chili then?
Lots of meat.
Well, lots of meat, yeah, different kinds of meat too. Um,
So what I do is I use burger, but I also
mhm,
use some hot Italian sausage in about
mhm.
a 2-to-1 mix. Then dump some bacon in there. But I like to use some sautéed onions, diced up, throw them in there, as well as I put cayenne pepper, chili powder, paprika. I also cut up some fresh jalapenos and habaneros and toss them in.
No.
And they make these little cans of diced tomatoes that have habaneros in them. Throw in a couple of whole chipotles for good measure, and then dump a Guinness in there and some dark
What
chocolate because the chocolate smooths it out so you don't realize how hot it is until it's coming out the other end.
the chocolate chili.
Yeah. Just a little
A lot
bit.
of people,
You don't taste the chocolate. It
right.
just smooths out the hotness.
What's
And
your
it helps it with the color too.
Yeah.
But
what's it called there? What's it called, nerd? What's that called?
Chili.
You got to give it a name though. You can't just call it chili.
It's chili.
Merp
And you gotta
chili
get,
then.
then you gotta keep the Fritos
Merp.
for the topping. Fritos and cheddar cheese.
All right, that's the Merp
Willy
chili.
Wonka chili.
Yeah.
The Merp
All right.
Wonka chili. You got a partner up there in Pennsylvania.
I have what I call a 5-pepper chili. Okay, serranos, jalapenos. It depends how hot you want to go. You can keep going up the scale, but um, poblanos, that type, you can kind of keep it mild. And because a lot of people don't like a real hot chili, you know,
I don't.
I don't like. I'm like you. I like the slow burn. Okay, but what I don't like is people that think they have to make their chili so damn hot you can't even taste it.
Right.
You know,
You should be
it's
able to eat it.
right, right. You should experience all the flavors and then after you take a few bites, you're like, oh yeah, that's got a little kick to it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way chili ought to be as far as I'm
But what I
concerned.
don't like about it is how it lingers. Like if it went away like a slight and then gone, I'd be fine with it.
Well, that's too
But
hot then.
Yeah.
okay, so I don't know something like so. Two questions from this is that, but Tex, you're telling me all these peppers, this pepper, that pepper, that pepper. How do you afford this at the store? Goddamn pepper is probably like $5 now.
I haven't
That's
made
like
it in a long time, brother.
that's like $35 in peppers. I
Well,
can't
Fresh
do
yeah,
that.
produce is
and
pretty
plus the
cheap,
5 or 6
actually.
pounds of meat that I put in it. So yeah,
That's
The
like
meat's expensive. The
that's like
produce
a
is actually
holiday.
fairly cheap.
The
and I'll
holiday.
tell you what my favorite meat to use is because I'll use beef. You know, get you some. I don't. I like ground chuck.
What
Okay,
about ground brisket? I bought that today.
really,
I
that'd
got a
probably be really good.
I got a meat market down here that is the best meat market that I've ever dealt with, and they
That would
have like
probably be a damn good chili because I've had brisket chili before, but they just cubed it
yeah,
up. I didn't
yeah,
like
ground.
that.
You need ground. You need ground wagyu brisket. That would be like the ultimate.
You know what I'd like to try that I haven't had the opportunity because I had some and I made it into burger about 5 years ago. But I want to try and make it with moose, ground moose.
Oh yeah, I bet that'd
Moose
be
is a
good.
very rich meat.
And see, you
It's not
could
real
use
gamey.
and
Hmm.
see, I like. And I was going to tell you, I like to use beef and venison.
Okay.
Okay.
Venison chili is oh hell yeah.
So
But
I've
you
never eaten venison, but is venison from like up north the same as venison from down south?
depends how you
Yes.
cook
So it
it.
tastes the same though. It's not like a different
Yeah, pretty
taste.
much. I mean, every animal has its own flavor. But there's it's how you prep it. My wife, she hates that gamey taste. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay, because it's what I grew up with. But so when I cook venison by itself, what we found out is we'll cut it up in medallions like a good backstrap. We'll cut it up into medallions, and then you can soak it in buttermilk overnight, and take the gamey taste out. Same thing with wild pig. You can do almost anything. You can even do this with fish.
So I'm gonna try that then. What do you do with it in the fridge with
You
what?
just soak it in buttermilk. Just put it in a bowl in buttermilk, cover it, put it in the fridge, cook it the next day.
I'm gonna have
What
to
we
try
do
that.
is we put it in the bowl and we cover it with Italian dressing and let it soak overnight.
That's good too. I've done that.
Boy, those
But
are
then
nice
when you cook the venison, you pan fry it. If you ask me, it's got to be an iron skillet, but with cream of what is it? Not cream of mushroom, that brown mushroom gravy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We use just
And
fresh
gingerbread on top
peppers,
of
onions, mushrooms.
Yeah.
But
Now
you can't
get
cook it.
back to
The venison's very lean, so you can't
Yep.
you can easily overcook it and dry
Right.
it out.
Yeah.
So you gotta be careful.
You got to cook it you got to cook it at, you don't want to cook it on high heat, because it's like you said, it's real temperamental.
All right,
But
let's
getting
I
back
think I
to
cut
the
off your recipe. Yeah.
getting back to the chili, what I'll do is I'll take the really hot peppers, and you can pretty much tell when you buy jalapenos how hot they're going to be by the stem. If the stem's curly, it's a hot pepper. Rule of thumb.
Straight is not hot.
It's pretty mild, yeah. So, but what I'll do is I'll take the whole pepper. I do it different than he does. I take the whole pepper and I just go with a knife and I make slits down in the pepper all the way down and throw the pepper in there whole.
Okay.
And you don't get any of the seeds or anything. It's almost like using the cheesecloth method, but you don't need cheesecloth.
See, I cut the top and I core it out and rinse all the seeds and everything out and then dice them
Well,
real
what
thin.
good is that?
Yeah.
It's that northern thing. I don't know. Oh my
But
gosh.
all the rest of the peppers, if it's a real hot pepper and that's what I'm trying to get from is the flavor and the heat, that's what I'll do. But
all right, well, hold on. Let's pause. Let's pause because I hope you guys text. And this is the first time Nerd was on here, but this is the true passion of Rabbit Holes because we started over at Bigfoot. Now we're over here talking about the stems of the peppers. Holy shit, man! I never thought I'd get there. All right, so all right. So I guess we're hitting about an hour now. So I know Tex has somewhere to go, and I know we want to join, we want to watch. So I'm just gonna leave it with I know we had our other Did You Know, which was better, but I'm gonna put them both out there on Twitter and everything. But another one is we're talking food and stuff, and I wrote it down. I remember I read a story about there's a cave in Missouri that has 1.4 billion pounds of cheeses and butters and dairy products stashed for America. There's a story to that.
I've never heard that.
It's in Missouri and it's down in a cave because it's the right refrigerator condition or whatever. And it's 1.4 billion pounds of dairy products stockpiled by a government at some point thinking they would be able to sell it off or something. It's like a national reserve of dairy products or something.
Wow.
So yeah, we need to look into that a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. That is. I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard that.
Take a read. Take a gander. Take a gander here at LUDE.
I think it's just like industrial food storage. Like if you get dig down, it stays cool.
Yeah,
you don't need to pay to refrigerate. It's like the Kraft company, and they have to store a pile of dairy. But to build a refrigerated building would be astronomical in the cost to cool the place. So you build it underground.
It's like a great idea by someone somewhere, but they don't get credit for it. It sounds like
it's an ancient idea. Have you ever heard of somebody having a root cellar?
People use cellars to keep their stuff cool all the time.
Yeah, but whose idea was to make it in America for America in a cave where you didn't have to pay anything?
Well, yeah, they just
people have root cellars all the time.
But yeah, that's what root cellars were. That's what a lot of people had spring houses. They would dig a hole over a spring, and the spring would run through it, and it's really, really cold, and that's where they would keep their perishables.
You
Oh.
won't know about this, but the camp has a spring house.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, we have a spring house out there.
That's awesome.
And so what is it? It's a well where you keep things. I lost you guys.
So the spring comes out of the side of the hill that they got the water from, and it's
Yeah.
good, clean water filtered out of the ground. But that running water and it being underground keeps things cool. So they build a brick little building around where the water's coming out, and they'd hang or put a shelf in there to basically a refrigerator.
Yep.
So
It'd keep things at 55, 60 degrees all year round.
I mean, what if you dig into the water? What if like you go into the water, like you try to go close and you go too far?
What do you mean?
So like,
water coming out of the side of the hill, you want it to come out.
Yeah, but like if you like build into the side of the hill or something.
Right. So what happens is there's a floor. They build a concrete floor in those walls, and there's about a foot or two where that spring water comes out and fills up and then overflows and keeps going down the hill. So there's a standing pool of water that's continuously circulating.
Ingenious. This engineer back in 1546, man, he was some guy.
Yep. Some of the older technologies are the best.
All right,
we were talking about, a refrigerated building and everything. What you have to remember is, if you lose the grid, you lose your refrigeration. You could only, even if you got generators, if you don't have any fuel,
Well, hey, again, we gotta make a move. I don't want you to be late. So Merp Nerd, he'll be back. We'll hear him again. Tex, maybe we will get you back one day too, because we had a lot of fun with you. Like I said, there's thousands of I think the number was 37 or 47. We had different topics we could maybe cover down the road one day. So if we get any interest in any of them, or we want, to talk about them, maybe we'll see if we can get you back here. Okay.
Yeah. Just give me a shout, man.
All right. We're going to watch your show tonight. Go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yours. I'll just end and say, hey, thanks for watching LUDE Presents. Hopefully those who have, we have all kinds of interesting things coming. And I'll let Tex tell you a little bit about his platform, and then we're going to go watch his show.
Well, you can we're on YouTube, and it's Texas Front Porch. That's TEX' front porch, because it's my front porch. And that's our flagship show. We have 5 shows a week. We have Texas Front Porch at 6:30 on Mondays p.m. Central. Tuesdays we kind of take a day off, but I've got a good buddy of mine that has a variety channel. Bob Van Buren over at Van Buren Variety.
Okay.
He runs the show Tuesday night. Now Jason, he does a show after that at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays over on oh good grief, I just went blank. And I just said it today.
Somebody can type it on the bottom for us. Somebody that watches the show, put it in the bottom.
Then Wednesday night we do a show that's called Jason McLean Questions Everything, because he knows about. I ain't run across a subject this boy ain't read about.
Talk to him if he likes the premise. Maybe I'll come on his show and I'll pepper him with questions about things.
But that's our panel show. There's usually 3 of us there.
Yeah.
And then that's at 9 p.m. Central. And then Thursdays we got 2 shows running right now. We've got at noon Central, we've got Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. It's another one of our co-hosts. He's of course out of Michigan. And it's usually me and him and a guest. A lot of them, that's where we get we pretty much stick to talking cryptids over there on that show. And then Thursday night, we've got Jason's back again with his, off of his channel. We simulcast it on our show, on our channel too. Okay. And it's called Siru Papers. And that's where we get into the conspiracy side of things. We get, we chasing down the rabbit holes. We kind of let our hair down a little bit.
It sounds fun though.
That's at 9 o'clock Central on Thursdays. And then Fridays, we have Jessica Jones, and she is a remote viewer, and she does remote view investigation. She looks at all these supposed cryptid attacks. We did the landing on the moon. We did all kinds of things, Dutloff Pass. And she's very talented.
Yeah,
She's
interesting.
actually done remote viewing for the government, and and help find people and stuff like that. She's bona fide.
All right, that's a busy week
And
for you, sir.
Yeah, that's Fridays at 8 p.m. Central. So
I don't know how you do it. So good job. Commend you for that. Well, again, Merp Nerd, anything else?
No, but I'm gonna check out that remote viewing lady.
All right. All right. So again, thank you, Tex. Thank you, the Merp Nerd. We're going to have some new episodes, being created and going to be put out there soon. So I don't want everyone to watch this and think, oh, that was fun, but I don't want to, I don't want to listen to that sort of stuff. I don't want to listen to the, we talked about paranormal and
right,
Bigfoot and whatever. So if they don't like that, that's fine. We got other stuff. We got JFK assassination, Area 51, DB Cooper. But then we got things like collectibles, small business, the TV show Resident Alien, movie Nope, European hip hop. We got that. Professional wrestling, stocks, all that stuff in the works. So it doesn't mean you have to be a believer or non-believer. You can like anything at Rabbit Holes. Sound about right?
Pretty much covered it.
All right, good. All right, well, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evening. Tex, we look forward to watching you, and hopefully we'll talk again one time. Everybody else that listened, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. More stuff on the way. Thanks.
Hold my tongue never. I say what I feel. Look you in the eye. Never ran, never will. Hold my own destiny. Both hands in the wheel. In the darkness, they found light. So at the top of your lungs, scream. This ain't life. So when they